Hey, what's up, Dragon Legion? How y'all been? So, Dragoons, today we're going to be doing a CardFight Vanguard deck update of my current Kagero The X deck profile. Now, as you Dragoons may have noticed, ever since I got my hands on the X, it has been a deck that I've always fell in love with, and I've been playing testing this deck a lot. And ever since, every now and then, every time I do a deck profile of this deck, I've always done some changes to the deck here and there. I really love and enjoy playing with this deck right here. Compared to the last time I've done a profile of this deck on this channel, I think this deck actually looks a tad bit different, and I think it looks a little bit more suitable to how this deck should be compared to how it was the last time I done a profile. But playing Max 4, playing Max The End, it's still a good build. It's still in my opinion, not my opinion, it's still a more favored build compared to how I'm used to playing when it comes to X. But playing with the build, we play only three ends and two the great is still a very, to my surprise, a very nice, efficient, consistent build, and allows you to get your key plays going and allows you to do some heavy duty stuff time to time that your opponent will not be able to deal with every now and then. Nonetheless, it's still a fun deck, and I'm very glad I'm able to get my hands together on this deck together. And with that being said, I'll be showing you the Dragoons deck profile of this deck right here. The deck has been, as I said, has changed up a little bit since the last time, and of course I'll explain my choices time to time. And with that being said, let's move on to the deck profile itself. Alright, here we go. Start off with, of course, your Forerunner. Start with one Lizard Soldier Fargo. If you Dragoons remember, in my first few X builds I've done with this deck, I was always using Red Pulse Kit up till recently. Fargo, to my surprise, has actually become a lot more useful and more versatile than I thought he was going to be. Just the ability where he has the ability where put himself in the soul of your Vanguard, as long as your Vanguard has the word Overlord, and your Vanguard gets the ability of whenever he retires a unit and whenever his attack is a hit, you can retire one of your rear guard. It's very nice and very appreciative. And what's really nice about this ability is during the entire turn when you first use this ability, it goes off every time your Vanguard's attack is a hit. So immediately after you stand your Vanguard back right up, if it does land a hit, you can potentially retire up to 2 cards with this card's ability. And what's really nice about him is that not only the ability is free, besides him going to soul your Vanguard, but if you were to Legion and put him back into your deck, and you get lucky and draw into him again, you can actually call him to rearguard circle and actually potentially use his ability again for free. And if my ruling is correct, don't take my word for it, I could be wrong. If your you can even use his ability even if your Vanguard is currently Super Emperor Dragonic Overlord The X, and still be able to have the ability where stand right back up and retire some stuff. So Fargo is still is a kind of a threat that you don't want to deal with, and he just puts people's backs to the wall a lot harder than I would ever give him credit for. And that's your Forerunner of the deck. Now for the triggers, of course, got your 4 heals. Go for my mother orbs. So happy. And if you Dragoons know me, if you've known me from the very get-go, I think you Dragoons will see this from a mile away. Still playing the usual 6 critical and 6 draw lineup right here. Keep me a perfect balance of offense and defense. Allow me to be on defensive so I can draw into what I need to draw into the most, while still be on offensive and allow me to be aggressive as much as I want to be, and land in those damages to my opponent as fast as I possibly can. So yeah, that's my trigger lineup right here. Now and also another thing that's also really good about this is that Gatling Dragon is definitely very useful in this current era of Vanguard, because just the ability where you can potentially pop off those Forerunners is definitely very appreciative. We're in an era of Vanguard where Forerunners have become a lot more useful than they've ever been in the past. So the sooner you can pop off a Forerunner, the better your chances are of winning. It's always very nice to have around. So yeah, except when you're up against Tachikaze. I believe Tachikaze is normally used at one Forerunner, where every time it gets retired, you get to search out a certain card in particular. So that's the only Forerunner you gotta watch out for. Other than that, all our Forerunners, if you're able to definitely retire them as fast as you possibly can. So yeah, that's it for the triggers. For the grade 1s, we have still playing the 4 Protect Orb Dragons. a nice ability where you can unflip the damage when his guard is successful. Always very nice to have. And then 4 copies of your stride enablers, just to get easy access to do your strides and such. And then next up, still playing the 3 Clamatory Tower Wyverns. Soul Blast 2, draw a card every time he's called a rearguard circle. Not only giving you the ability to draw a card when you need it the most, but also since you are playing a Legion based deck, those 2 cards that you do Soul Blast could be cards that you want back into your deck when you do your Legion plays. So you can carry on with your big huge key plays, especially when you want to recycle back your important cards. Like there are times with this deck I was forced to write into my Perfect Guards, nowadays my Dragonic Burnouts, and other cards that are just as good, if not almost as good, as those cards. I really wanted them back, but they were stuck in my Vanguard Soul. And thanks to this guy right here, I was able to Soul Blast those cards. I can easily Soul Blast those cards out of my Vanguard. Not only get a free draw, but also have the ability to Legion them back into my deck, so I can reutilize them all over again. And then to end the Grade 1s, 2 copies of the card I'm currently trying out right now, and it's actually doing not bad so far. And it has 2 copies of Seal Dragon Kersey. Kersey, he has that really nice ability when he's called a rearguard circle, as long as my Vanguard has a Grade 2 Vanguard, I can pitch a card and draw a card when he's first called a rearguard circle. Now, I took this guy over Dragon Monk Gojo because Dragon Monk Gojo was just one of those cards where it's either this or that. And while it's not a bad thing to have, with the way how I am right now, the moment, I want to try getting there and landing those powerful attacks as fast as I possibly can. And with Kersey, not only I get the ability to pitch a card, draw a card when I need it the most, but I also have the 7k boosting to back up my Vanguard as fast as I possibly can and land in those heavy attacks that I need to land in as soon as I can. So yeah, that right there was the Grade 1 lineup. Now for the Grade 2s. For the Grade 2s, I play 4 Dragonic Burnouts. Your typical 12k attacker. Once your Vanguard's Overlord, it's guaranteed he's going to get a 12k boost. So he's your 12k attacker nonetheless. So 4 Burning Horns. And then 4 copies of Dragonic Burnout, one of the best cards for Grade 2s for Overlords in general, in my opinion. When he's called a Rearguard Circle, you can Soul Blast card to not only take an Overlord from a drop zone and put it in the bottom of your deck, but also pop off any Rearguard of your choice. This has been one of the greatest Overlord supports, minus the Grade 3s and strides we've ever had in a very long time, in my opinion. Just the fact that for a minor cost of Soul Blast of 1 card, not only you get to get back one of your Overlords are in your drop zone, but you can also pop off one of your opponent's rear guards. It's probably one of the most greatest effects an Overlord effect base deck can ever have. And what's also even more nice about this card right here is that this is also a Legion based deck. So whatever Overlord you get back, or whatever card you soul blast, you can just simply you'll simply have more Legion targets to Legion back into your deck, which is very nice to have around. And also, since we are in striding every now and then, there may be occasion time where you are going to be forced to pitch an Overlord in order to stride, and if that happens, no big deal. You got your burnout for that, so you can get that Overlord. You just pitch for your stride, and just be able to have access with your Overlord all over again. So yeah. 4 burnouts and 4 burning horns, always very nice to have around in this deck right here. And then last but not least, for the Grade 2 lineup, 3 copies of Perdition Dragon, Neoflame. One of the reasons he's in there for, and probably one main reason, is because he's your mate of Dragonic Overlord the Great. But even outside of that, he is still a very useful card when he's your rear guard, which is very nice. For those who do not know or don't remember what he does, Neoflame Dragon has the ability of, when he's called a rear guard circle, he temporarily gets, until end of turn, he gets the ability of Countless 1 when a rear guard in front of him has been retired. You may pay the cost. If you do, retire another unit in the same column. So for example, say you call this guy right here, and your opponent has 2 rear guards right here. You call your burnout, retire one of those 2 rear guards, and then you can use your Neoflame's ability, retire off that other rear guard. So it's pretty much one of those old sayings of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, which is always very nice to have around. And with some nice combos where you can do with your strides and your burnouts, as I mentioned, and even with your Neoflame and even your Fargo as well, you can do some really nice nifty combos with those cards as well. And even if you have an extra one of him, when you have your Dragonic Overlord the Great as your Vanguard, you can also do even more combos with your Neoflame. So Neoflame is not a card you want to underestimate. He is definitely a very useful card besides just being the mate of the Great, which is very nice and nifty to have around. And that is it for the grade 2s. Now for the grade 3s. And speaking of the Great, I'm now playing 2 copies of Dragonic Overlord the Great, Perdition Emperor Dragon. A really nice card. I'm back into playing this deck, and it's definitely lots of fun playing. For those who do not know or do not remember what he does, is he's Legion 20k. His mate is Neoflame Dragon. When his unit is in Legion, you may, when he's done attacking a rear guard, you may counterblast 1 and pitch 2 Kagero. If you do, he stands right back up. Also, he has the ability of when this unit lands a hit, I believe. When his unit attack lands a hit, you may retire a rear guard who shares the same name as him. When you do, retire another rear guard of your choice. So yeah, just the ability that he can stand right back up for a second attack, even if his first attack is not hit, is definitely very handy to have around. And as I mentioned earlier with Neoflame, he can definitely do some nice nifty combos. Definitely now then allows you to have a retirement. And also another thing that's also great about the Great, no pun intended, is in case something happens where you were not able to do your Legion and such, if you have like another Great as your rearguard circle, you can just simply have another Great right here and still be able to just retire off rearguard by just popping up a rearguard or the Great without having to wait into Legion. And depending on what your opponent has going on, this just gives you another option to just pop off another card that annoys you, that you want to get rid of very fast, and proceed do your nifty plays as fast as you possibly can, and just continue to power creep and control your opponent's field right there. And then next up, we have 3 copies of Dragonic Overlord The End, one of the key cards you need for this deck. Persona. Even if he's your Vanguard, if you end up riding into this guy over your Great or your X, it's not the end of the world. The end is not the worst thing you can end up riding into when that happens. The Persona Blast ability is still there in case you need it, and we are in an era of Vanguard that we are going to be striding more often. So if we do end up riding into the end, we are going to use the striding to stride into whatever we need to stride into most anyway. So right into the Great. Now, it's not something I would rather want to ride into for obvious reasons, but if it does happen, there are some nice things we can do in case something like that happens, and thanks to the triple drive we get from the strides, we will eventually get into something that we'd rather ride into over on top of the end and still be able to proceed with our next place from there. But nonetheless, as I said, the Persona Blast ability of when attack hits, stand right back up is very nice to have. I actually won not too long ago a game with him, just a Vanguard, and still be able to win one of my games, which is actually very nice to have around. And it gave me that little nice small nostalgia of an old school Kagero player right there. And of course, your idea boss key card of the entire deck, 4 copies of Dragonic Overlord The X. Legion 22,000. His mate is The End. When this unit first legions, you may add either a copy of him or a copy of The End for your deck to your hand. His final ability is when his attack is not hit, you may counterblast a card, pitch a copy of him, or a short and sweet Persona Blast. When you do, retire 2 rear guards on your opponent's side of the field of your choice. So it gives you more searching. It gives you more abilities to do some more Persona Blast. If the N and the X are in Legion together like so, you can use the N's Persona Blast ability to stand them right back up total. And even if something like that happens where your back is pushed in the corner where you can't do some things, you always have a nice grade 3 you can add for your deck to your hand that you can do your strides with. Or if you know by fact that your attack is not gonna land a hit, you can always use the X's search ability to search for another X, and then next turn you can just hold on, my apologies for that. Where was I? Oh yeah, and you can search for another X to do next turn, do a ride on top of the X, do to doing our Legion play with X again. Sorry about that. Sorry if I was stuttering right there. That phone call kind of caught me off. Let me mute that real quick. There we go. Now where were we? Oh yes, for the rest of the deck. For the rest of the deck profile. Now for the strides. we're still playing the three copies of Divine Dragon Knight Mahmud, the one Zahm, who combos out very well with Neoflame Dragon and Fargo very well, and even now the thing with your Dragonic Burnout, which is very fantastic to have around. And finally, to finish off the entire Grade 3 Destroyed deck, we have 4 copies of Flare Emperor Dragon, Root Flare Dragon King. Persona flip 1, and then retire, choose a column, retire 2 rear guards of your opponent's set. One thing I want to point out, I think a lot of people already know this, but one thing I want to point out is his ability kind of resembles Perdition Dragons a little bit. Yeah, it's a little nifty and cool now that I say it out loud. And before I end the deck profile, for those of you who are wondering why I don't have the Great Extra deck, the reason why is this is my only Dragonic Overlord The Ace right now at the moment. The holidays are right around the corner, so I won't be able to get my hands on the Ace. I thought I was going to be able to order the Ace, but Ace's price went skyrocketing high for whatever reason, so I was not able to pick up an extra Ace yet. And in the near future, I will get an extra Ace, but things are how things are right now at the moment. So please bear with me just a tad bit longer. I will get the Ace probably by around when the holidays are over, I believe. But until then, this is how my deck is right now at the moment. Please be very patient. I will get the Ace, the second Ace, and if I'm lucky, maybe even a third, fourth Ace. But if I can get at least one more Ace, I should be just fine right there. But nonetheless, that right there, Dragoons, was my Kagero The X deck profile. It's a deck I definitely, as I said earlier, I fall in love with this deck very, very muchly. This is definitely my go-to deck if I want to play competitive, and it's a very nice deck to have around, and it allows me to do a lot of cool limited plays time to time. And with that being said, let me know what Dragoons think about this deck profile in the comment section down below. And I'll see you Dragoons around. Hope you Dragoons enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and a favorite if you did, and share this video with other people. It really helps me out a lot. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. Subscribe today to become part of the Dragon Legion Alliance. And I'll see you Dragoons another day. Christian Dragoon signing out. Peace.